So recently, my main YouTube channel is no longer eligible for monetization. It wasn't because I got a strike or anything. It's just because, well, I only have one upload there in the past 90 days, so I'm just under the criteria. I need to have three uploads, and I have to have however many hours. But you know what? I kind of saw this as a blessing in disguise because everything feels like an ad these days. Everything is just trying to market or promote something, and that's why everything I think feels so empty. So I've sort of come to this conclusion that I won't monetize the channel even if it's eligible again. I won't monetize this one even if it is eligible because I would rather, if people want to support me financially, they could do that directly instead of having like these ads that I have no control over by a third party just flooding the videos and taking away from the viewing experience. Like, I don't want that. I think that's sort of why the modern internet feels so empty. Because, back in the day, it was like people would start their own websites and their own blogs, and people would support them grassroots. But everything changed during, like, the social media takeover. It's like everything's free, which sounds great, but if everything's free, then you're the product. Your data is being sold. Those ads are being pushed to you. And I think that's not what I want the world to be. That's not, what I see as fair to the consumer. So, I would rather just, make art, and people, if they like the stuff I make, they can pay for that financially, and everything else can be free. I have this EP I did a few years ago. I never put it out because I felt like the timing was wrong. But I'm probably going to put it out at the end of this year because the time it feels right. It just feels like everything's good. And I bought these beats that I used that I rapped over, and so I have the license. I have the license to sell this. I'll probably sell it for $5 a piece. I'm not sure how much I'll make, but it's more about the principle. It's more about the thought. It's more about putting power into yourself instead of like trying to maybe finesse your way into getting millions and millions of views to get what 10 G's. Like I think like I'm trying to. Sorry, I'm losing my thought. But I think a million views on YouTube is about $10,000, which sounds good, but it's like you have to get 100 million views to like have a career, basically, have a career to where you're comfortable. I just don't think that's good because you're sort of playing the lottery, and then like you're chasing the virality, you're chasing those things, and then when the algorithm changes, it's like you don't have a core audience with you. You don't have that foundation that's going to hold you up. And I think that's what's severely lacking. I think that's why a lot of social media presence feels hollow, compared to when people were doing blogs and making their own website and that sort of thing. It's not like people are doing. It doesn't feel like mom and pop small business anymore. It feels like these companies hire people who are salespeople for their website. They drive traffic and clicks to their website, and then they discard them when it's convenient for them. That's what it feels more like than what it used to be. And so yeah, I'm still going to use social media for now and stuff like that because you have to meet people where they're at. But I think down the line, with a lot of people, the viewer including, like you have to make a website. You're going to have to like make your own things to do these things to eliminate the middleman, and it'll probably be like paid per view. But I think that's much better than it being free, but they get your data, they get all this information that they shouldn't have, like you're being surveilled, you're being spied on. I think that's just a healthier future. And I do want to create like, I guess down the line, one of my ultimate goals is to sort of create the next sort of platform for just creative people to potentially make a living. Like, I guess combining what Adult Swim used to be back in the day, but also what YouTube used to be back in the day, and sort of just creating like this hub of like what's good and what's people, what's like sort of the alternative, but like still really creative and cool and interesting and grassroots and DIY. That's sort of what I want to do down the line. That's like my ultimate dream because I remember being a kid watching Cartoon Network, and then getting older, watching Adult Swim, sort of, having that creative space. And unfortunately, it seems like they've fallen out of favor due to streaming. There isn't like, a place if you're kind of weird, but you want to have a place where you feel like you can be weird and creative. That's what I want to make, like what MTV used to be in the 80s. I feel like that doesn't really exist, unfortunately. But that's one of my goals down the line. I'm sort of rambling. I want to always do this art. I think it'll start, I sell my own art, and then eventually it gets to the point where I want other people to have that opportunity, and we could sort of, have our own grassroots thing sort of going, and not everything will have to feel like an ad, because that's how a lot of art gets ruined, because it's like the marketability, the advertising. But if we already have like sort of this foundation of people who don't want to see like the most average, like, you know, slop, for lack of a better word. They don't want to just see this slop, this predictable by the numbers, but like real art and expression from the heart. They can have a place, and that's sort of what I've been obsessing over, and that's what I want to create down the line. So just wanted to share that with you guys. Everything sort of feels like an ad, and it feels empty and it feels hollow, but I won't contribute to that, problem. I don't want to have ads on my pages, so I want to do something grassroots. So, and I hope you guys relate and you understand where I'm coming from.